You see somebody swimming, you think they might be drowning, and we stay over on the shore and say, hey, it's wonderful over here. You know, swim on in, this is where you should be. But nobody shouts to a drowning person, swim over to the beach. No, I mean, you swim out to get them. God seems to be doing something, inviting us into something. But what does it look like as people form the church outside the walls of a building, in the midst of their everyday lives? We discovered that there are really 6 communal practices that people do when they respond to God together in any context. These are the things you will find followers of Jesus doing as they are being the church everywhere. As people begin to form the church in the midst of everyday life, they naturally begin to include the unincluded. They include people just as they go to work, as they go to school, as they go about, everyday life in the midst of their neighborhoods. The other amazing thing that we keep hearing stories about is also the way that people are included that maybe the church hasn't done a great job of including in the past. But as people begin to form the church in the midst of everyday life, they're able to include these people in a really unique way.
I think it's definitely our clear, natural disposition to walk into somewhere and gravitate to the folks you know and to the people you're familiar with. Mm-hmm. But there is something distinguished when a group of individuals will invite someone into that and to become a part of what you're doing. Then it goes from what you're doing it moves to what we're doing. And that's simple things. That's lunchtime at school. That's walking in the halls and seeing the people walking alone.
In my past, I wasn't always included. And so just growing up in middle school and life, I was that kid that not a lot of people like to hang out with. So I experienced a lot of isolation and exclusion growing up. I met Seaver my freshman year of high school, and we were very similar. We were both very loud and liked to play all the games and always volunteer for things.
Maybe a little competitive.
Very competitive. We were always like, Dina and Seaver, always against each other. Really started this awesome friendship, and then I met his beautiful sister, Lindsay, who is one of my best friends.
We empathize with that because it's something that has affected us, and I know we had talked in the past, and you had mentioned that's why you think you're gifted in that area, because you know the hurt of maybe sitting by yourself or not having someone to go and grab a smoothie with, because that's a relationship you long for, and it makes sense to want that for everyone else because, hey, this is so great, I'd like you to take part in it as well.
Of all these attributes that we see lived out, this one is the one that's the most meaningful, probably the most important to me. My parents were divorced when I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. And my mom moved here. She moved here to Orlando, and my dad stayed in Kentucky. I went from a small private Catholic high school to Lyman High School. And I didn't know anybody, and my schedule was just so crazy because I transferred in as a senior, and I was really lonely, and I was really having a difficult time. And when I was sitting in science class one day, and these 2 girls, Beth and Luna, I still remember their names, I'll never forget it, turned around to me and said, you look lonely. And I remember just I normally was cocky and arrogant and whatever, but they were so direct and so on point that I just found myself saying, I am, and they said, there's a group of us that get together at so-and-so's house every Wednesday evening. It's a home group. You should come. And I remember walking in and meeting a group of people for the first time who really loved Jesus and really loved each other. And I remember feeling like there is something different about this. I can't quite put my fingers on it. And the amazing thing was then when I showed up at school the next day, boom, they were right there like, hey, come on, and we're doing this and we're going there. And ultimately gave my life to Christ as a result of that, because they included me in a time that I absolutely needed to be included.
I was born and raised in church from 6 weeks old on. Like, I've been in church my entire life. And I've gone to big churches, small churches, and everything in between. But I've always had this hesitation, like, would I want to invite somebody to this? Like, I like it. I think it's fine, but I'm not sure that they really would. What I have found in our church, our distributed church, our house of light, it is the best picture of a healthy family that I've ever been around. You know, it's like, it's easy to include the unincluded when I'm as excited about what we're doing as I am about our church.